Is BlackRock looking into Cardano? Discusses crypto Twitter. Crypto monitoring platform started a conversation around BlackRock's potential move toward Cardano on Twitter. The crypto community on Twitter seemed optimistic about the investment management firm venturing into ADA. A crypto trader added that in the future Cardano ETFs will be inevitable. On October 1st, crypto monitoring platform Altcoin Daily tweeted, "Is BlackRock looking into Cardano?" This triggered varied reactions across the crypto community on Twitter, with most of the members optimistic about a potential collaboration. Moreover, one user predicted that the investment management company would be investing in all the top 30 coins. The conversation started after the US Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, postponed its rulings on several additional Bitcoin ETF proposals, following its recent postponement of decisions for ARC-21 shares and Globalx until January. These latest anticipated delays, filed on Thursday, specifically pertain to the Bitcoin ETF applications submitted by BlackRock, Valkyrie, and Bitwise. Crypto analytics platform Analytics Insight emphasized the significance of BlackRock's BTC ETF in bringing fresh money to Cardano, ADA. An article stated, BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF, emerging as a pivotal player, is poised to inject fresh capital into various digital assets, including Bitcoin and promising cryptocurrencies like Cardano, Shiba Inu, and Bitcoin Spark. Crypto trader bullish Alex also expressed confidence in Cardano ETFs, noting that, in the future, a Cardano ETF is inevitable. Similarly, another popular crypto-related Twitter account noted that BlackRock venturing into Cardano would potentially indicate a growing recognition of proof-of-stake blockchain networks. Additionally, it would drive a shift in institutional interest towards more environmentally sustainable blockchain technologies. On the other hand, amidst the SEC's delay in approving Valkyrie's application for an ETH futures contract, the asset management company has announced that it will provide United States investors with exposure to ETH futures alongside its existing Bitcoin Strategy ETF. According to a spokesperson from Valkyrie, the Bitcoin Strategy ETF will grant investors access to both Bitcoin and Ether futures within a single investment vehicle. Effective October 3rd, the fund will undergo a name change to become the Valkyrie Bitcoin and Ether Strategy ETF. Top reasons why the crypto market is up today. The cryptocurrency world is buzzing with a fresh wave of optimism as leading cryptocurrencies demonstrate significant gains. Beyond just numbers, several factors are believed to be driving this positive momentum. Here's a breakdown. A week packed with economic events. The Kobesi letter, a renowned macroeconomic source, has shed light on significant economic events in the U.S. this week. The anticipated events might have a rippling effect on the crypto world. The U.S. dodged a government shutdown, which always impacts financial market sentiments. Tuesday's spotlight is on job statistics, which are anticipated to stay stable. Alongside, all eyes will be on Wednesday's OPEC gathering. This significant assembly will discuss oil output strategies, but no major policy shifts are predicted. Given that oil prices are touching sky-high records this year due to OPEC's calculated cutbacks and the increasing demand, the stability in this arena also fuels positive sentiments in interconnected markets. Anticipation of employment figures. The market is keenly awaiting employment numbers set to drop on Thursday and Friday. These stats are foreseen to depict a slight uptick compared to last month. Furthermore, with about 13 Federal Reserve speakers lined up this week, market volatility is expected, which can swing in favor of cryptocurrencies. So investors are feeling giddy about it. Ethereum Futures ETF - the new kid on the block. The crypto fraternity is buzzing with rumors. Speculation is rife that the first US Ethereum Futures ETF might get the regulatory nod this week. Such a development could be a significant catalyst in drawing more investors to the cryptocurrency sphere. The October effect. In the crypto lexicon, October signifies the typically bullish trend observed in October for Bitcoin and its digital peers. Historical data from CoinGlass suggests that since 2013, October has been a predominantly positive month, with only 2 instances of negative returns. To sum it up, from pivotal economic events and employment figures to potential ETF approvals, various factors are setting the stage for a bullish month in the crypto market. With these trends and speculations, investors and enthusiasts have much to watch out for in the coming days. Ripple vs. SEC, legal expert challenges Gensler's knowledge on what is a security. Pro-XRP legal expert John Deaton has again come for the US Securities and Commission's, SEC, Chairman Gary Gensler in its battle against Ripple. This time he questions Gensler's competence and calls for his dismissal from the commission. Gensler doesn't know what security means. In a tweet shared on his X, formerly Twitter, platform, Deaton stated that despite his academic experience, Gensler doesn't have a clue about what investment contracts, also known as security, mean. He further stated that Gensler continues to feign ignorance that securities laws cannot apply to the purchase of an asset for non-investment use cases. Deaton was reacting to an old clip where Gensler mentioned that Ether had transformed from a security to a non-security as it had become more decentralized. The lawyer's comments come amid the ETH Gate saga and the long-running legal battle between Ripple and the SEC. The SEC is said to have given Ethereum a regulatory free pass while alleging that XRP was a security. Gensler and the Commission maintain that Ripple violated securities laws when it sold its XRP token as unregistered securities. Further questioning Gensler's knowledge, Deaton mentioned that Gensler may not know about the Supreme Court's ruling in the Foreman case, something which could explain why Gensler has maintained a hard stance on crypto being securities. In that case, while reaffirming the Howey test stipulated in the SEC v. Howey case, the Supreme Court ruled that courts should consider the economic reality standard when determining what classifies as an investment contract. As such, courts should look at the substance rather than the form when deciding if the federal securities law should apply. In line with this, it is believed that Judge Annalisa Torres rightly applied the law when she ruled that Ripple's programmatic sales and other distributions didn't constitute investment contracts and that XRP isn't a security in itself. Gensler lacks regard for the law. In his tweet, Deaton again stated that Gensler disregards the law. He made this statement in reference to the fact that the Commission has publicly admitted its refusal to consider the common enterprise factor of the Howey test when determining what constitutes security. Last week, Deaton had tagged Gensler as a megalomaniac who thinks he is above the law. Then he was commenting on an interview where Gensler seemed to be more bothered about a court agreeing with his stance on cryptocurrencies rather than being guided by the court as to whether these tokens fall under the purview of the federal securities laws and the SEC. Meanwhile, Deaton mentioned that Gensler must go, likely suggesting that the chair needs to resign or be removed from office due to his incompetency. Gensler's days at the SEC could be numbered, as Congressman Warren Davidson introduced the SEC Stabilization Act, which aims to restructure the agency and remove Gary Gensler as its chair. Grayscale files to convert its Ethereum Trust to a spot ETF. Cryptocurrency asset manager Grayscale Investments said Monday it has partnered with NYSE Arca and has filed for approval from the US Securities and Exchange Commission to convert Grayscale Ethereum Trust to a spot Ether exchange-traded fund. Launched in March 2019, ETH is the world's largest Ether, ETH/USD, investment product with assets under management of almost $5 billion, representing 2.5% of all Ether in circulation. The existing trust invests in Ether, ETH/USD, futures contracts to gain indirect exposure to the underlying asset, whereas a spot ETF would invest directly in ETH. Grayscale is also seeking approval from the SEC to convert its Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, OTC/GBTC, to a spot Bitcoin, BTC/USD ETF. Last month, a panel of judges overturned an SEC decision to block Grayscale from converting the trust to an ETF, requiring the regulator to revisit the firm's application.